is teaching in the crowded room, 4 men bring a paralyzed man on a stretcher. They want Jesus to heal their friend. Yet, because of the crowd, they cannot bring him right to Jesus. Mark 2. 4. Imagine how disappointing that is. They climb up onto the flat roof of the house and make an opening through the tiles. Then they lower the stretcher holding the paralyzed man down into the house. Does Jesus get angry at the interruption? No, indeed. He is deeply impressed by their faith and says to the paralyzed man, "Your sins are forgiven." Matthew 9. 2. But can Jesus actually forgive sins? The scribes and the Pharisees take issue with this reasoning. Why is this man talking this way? He is blaspheming. Who can forgive sins except one, God? Mark 2. 7. Knowing their thoughts, Jesus says to them, "Why are you reasoning these things in your hearts? Which is easier, to say to the paralytic, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Get up and pick up your stretcher and walk'?" Mark 2. 8, 9. Yes, based on the sacrifice that Jesus will in time offer, he can forgive the man's sins. Then, Jesus shows the crowd, including his critics, that he has authority to forgive sins on earth. He turns to the paralytic and gives the command, "I say to you, get up, pick up your stretcher, and go to your home." And the man immediately does that, walking out carrying his stretcher before the eyes of all those present. The people are amazed. They glorify God and exclaim, "We have never seen anything like this." Mark 2. 11, 12. It is worthy of note that Jesus mentions sins in connection with sickness, and that forgiveness of sins can be linked to physical health. The Bible teaches that our first parent, Adam, sinned and that all of us have inherited the consequences of sin, namely, sickness and death. But under the rule of God's kingdom, Jesus will forgive the sins of all who love and serve God. Then sickness will be removed forever. Romans 5. 12, 18, 19. Jesus forgives a paralyzed man's sins and heals him. What leads Jesus to heal a paralyzed man in Capernaum? How does the man reach Jesus? What can we learn from this event about the link between sin and sickness, and what hope does this offer us? 26:67. For a short time after healing the paralytic, Jesus remains in the area of Capernaum by the Sea of Galilee. Again crowds come to him, and he begins teaching them. As he walks on, he sees Matthew, who is also called Levi, sitting at the tax office. Jesus extends a wonderful invitation to him. "Be my follower." Matthew 9. 9. Likely, Matthew is already somewhat familiar with Jesus' teachings and the works he has performed in the area, as were Peter, Andrew, James, and John. Like them, Matthew responds immediately. Matthew describes this in his Gospel, saying, "At that Matthew himself rose up and followed Jesus." Matthew 9. 9. Hence, Matthew leaves his responsibilities as a tax collector behind and becomes a disciple of Jesus. At some later point, perhaps to express appreciation for this special call from Jesus, Matthew holds a large feast at his house. Who are invited in addition to Jesus and his disciples? Well, a number of Matthew's former associates, other tax collectors, are present. They collect taxes for the hated Roman authorities, including taxes on ships coming into the harbor, taxes on caravan traffic on the main roads, and duties on imported goods. How do the Jews in general view those tax collectors? The people despise them because they often dishonestly exact more money than the regular tax rate. There are also sinners at the feast, individuals who have a reputation for practicing wrongdoing. Luke 7. 37-39. Observing Jesus at the feast with such people, the self-righteous Pharisees who are present ask his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" Matthew 9. 11. Overhearing them, Jesus answers, "Healthy people do not need a physician, but those who are ill do. Go, then, and learn what this means. I want mercy, and not sacrifice. For I came to call, not righteous people, but sinners." Matthew 9. 12, 13. Hosea 6. 6. The Pharisees are not sincere when they refer to Jesus as teacher, but they can learn some